Hangouts killed the podcast star. That's a pretty lame joke, but if that song had been written today, that's what it would have been called. Because after 100 episodes sticking to our audio-only guns, we've gone to video. And not just video, but live video for episode 101 of the Pocketnow Weekly, the once-a-week podcast from Pocketnow where we discuss news and opinion from the world of smartphones, tablets, wearables, and other gadgets you wished you had when you were a kid. I'm your host, Michael Fisher, editorial director of Pocketnow from Boston, Massachusetts. Your first officer today, hailing from the one and only Super Carolina, is senior editor Taylor Martin. Hey, man.
What's up? I have to say, before we go any further, I'm not sure I like this video podcast because it means that I have to pay attention. I have to be present and hear and look at the screen.
No, don't worry. You don't have to do that because right now you're hidden behind my intro script, which everyone can see I'm reading, which is another reason I don't like video. So I'm with you, but we'll talk about that in a second. We also have other people on the air, and the music's running out, even though you can't hear it right now. Chief News Editor Stephen Schenck from New Jersey, the Pocketnow News Desk head. Hey, man. Welcome aboard.
Hey. I too share Taylor's frustrations. I like to spend the weekly basically staring out my window watching chipmunks play, and you've taken that away from me.
Yeah, I spend most of the audio weekly, the last 100 episodes, kind of like, yeah.
Especially when I'm talking, right?
Yeah, especially when Taylor's talking, yeah. Let us not forget our special guest, a man who needs even less of an introduction than he did when I last used that expression to introduce him on the last show. MKBHD himself, Marques Brownlee. Welcome back, brother.
Good afternoon, and glad to be back, also from New Jersey. I apologize in advance for any construction noises. You can probably hear it already.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Throughout the day, throughout the week, there's been construction, so I'll mute myself when it gets absurd.
You know, man, every time that I see you guest on something, you're like, that always happens, and it always happens in the first 2 minutes of the thing. I think last time it was like some pile driver was tearing up the street or something like that. You have interesting podcasts. Like, well, that's okay. You're not the only one with weird luck on the show because, as you can see, everyone, I don't have a lower thirds because the Hangouts control panel just won't work, which is, weird. And I think Steven's lower thirds don't work because he's coming to us from an Nexus 5 instead of his customary no camera and Karaoke Revolution microphone. But doesn't he look good?
It's an improvement of some kind.
Yeah. Oh, you look
beautiful, high definition.
So wonderful.
See the pores. It's lovely.
Yes, it is. Normally, you're just like what you said before, a 320 by 240 block of kind of pixelated nonsense. So it's good.
Coming to you live from 1996. Hells yeah.
It's good to have all of you guys on the show.
The only thing we need now. Oh,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, every time you talk, Taylor, you remind me of how awesome that mic is that you bought. You're the best sounding dude on the air right now, I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna come back to that at the end of the show, but that's a great mic, brother.
Thanks. It would have happened a long time ago if Marques had sold me his, but he said he might, and then he backed out on me. Way to go!
Oh, rascal!
No. Is that the same? That's the same one you used to use, Marques?
Unmute.
Yes, I did. that was always my desktop microphone when I had one like sitting in front of me on a desk. It was a Blue Spark.
Oh man, that's awesome. I did not know about that. I was wondering why it was familiar though, because I've seen it in your videos. And I was like, oh yeah. By the way, Marques, your viewers are some of the most detail-oriented ever, because I think there's one email in your G3 review where it's on the screen for I think it's maybe 3 frames.
Yeah.
And it's a bit I mentioned in an email, and I'm like, oh, and 60 people on Twitter hey, did you know you're on Marques' new video? I'm like, what are you talking? No, I didn't. What? I had to have somebody send me a screenshot. I'm like, oh right, sweet. So yeah. Thanks for the virtual shout out.
Of course.
We have some housekeeping to get out of the way for folks. We're going to jump into the news. We're going to get to the business of talking about mobile, which I know you're all here for, listeners, viewers. I'm going to stay listeners for the next 10 episodes. And listeners also, because this actually pertains to you. Be patient with us today, everyone. When Microsoft changed from Windows Phone 7 to Windows Phone 8, they described it as doing an engine replacement on a race car while it was driving down the street. That's what the rebuild of this podcast has been like, and so it's going to be bumpy. If you're listening live, you're going to notice a dearth of the usual sound effects you're used to in the intro music, the outro, and Ellie Spagnotto's transition track. But don't worry, they'll be in on the live stuff. Now, if you're listening to the recorded show via Stitcher or another outlet, you may notice a change in sound quality, which we were talking about going in. So please write in. Let us know how much worse it is than our previous solution. We like Hangouts, but we're not married to it. So, they've been good to you though, Marques, right? I mean, you do pretty much all of your appearances on Hangouts, right? And you seldom have an issue.
It's been good to me. I've done an interview on Hangouts. I've done various other recorded and live things on Hangouts, so it's been pretty good.
Yeah.
Does See You See Me still exist? We could use that.
See You See Me. What is that? Is that something from the Friendster era of the internet, Stephen?
This is how I did a video conferencing with my old black and white parallel port quick cam in like 1996.
Nice.
It sounds like something from like WWE. Nobody else is getting that?
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
You see me?
I got it. Yeah. It's all right.
I'm going to stop talking now.
4 out of 10 would joke again.
So also you can see when I say something stupid how red my face gets. See, when we're doing audio only, I just kind of brush it off. Now you can see me.
Actually, that's true. Yeah. No, I know. I'm interested in what quirks we're all going to start displaying. But
it's more intrusive when I cut you off. Like, I feel bad. Like, I can see your face, and I feel bad about it.
Like, oh, I see. Every time you cut me off, I'm just going to be like...
All right. How long until one of us starts picking our nose, forgetting that we're on the video this time?
I was going to make a joke about that, but I skipped over it. I'm glad.
It's not funny. It's going to happen.
It's probably going to be me. We have some announcements to get through, and they're very short. And one of them is probably the reason that, like, I don't know, 20% of the audience is tuned in. So we should probably address it. We've already done the announcement pertaining to welcome to the new Pocketnow Weekly. We have another. Yeah. All right. You're going to have to wait on the giveaway for a second, folks. Stephen, why don't you tell everyone about the new review format we have at Pocketnow very quickly?
Ah, yes. So we know that all of you are very busy out there, as we all are. And while there's certainly a time and place for checking out our nice, long, thoroughly detailed written reviews, along with the videos that accompany them, sometimes you just need a quick, to the point, this is the phone, this is what we like, this is what we don't. And just for that occasion, we have our new 60-second reviews. I'm probably getting the name of that slightly.
You're right on point.
60-second reviews, yes.
Yeah, well, it's 60-second smartphone review because me and alliteration, but 60-second review so that we can do tablets later, maybe. I don't know.
That's good. Leaving it open. Wearables, who knows where we'll go.
Yeah, this is like the Ollie version of the review. And now the Ollie with the LTE review.
Yeah.
It's gonna rain!
So, all right, so we have the first one up right now. It's the Galaxy S5 active review, 60 seconds. It's, the thing is, a lot of people are concerned that, Stephen, do you have
loudest
to go with your mechanical keyboard from 1890? Do you have like, a mouse that is built around like a hole punch? Is that what it? Yeah.
It's the tiniest little travel mouse in the world. It's like 2 ounces.
It's the biggest sound. It's like you're racking a gun every time. Just.
I want to say also thank you to everyone, and thank you to Marques, who hangs out on Hangouts all the time, for putting up with the weekly crew as we get used to this brave new world of video. So we're just going to kind of be kids in a candy store for a while. Somebody in Q&A makes a really good point. First of all, somebody says the audio is not that good. I agree, but also. And it just went away, but somebody said, it's not bad, it's just different. So we will continue to keep that in mind as we move forward. Thanks for the brief on that, Stephen. Guys, what say we talk about what we're giving away here? Would anybody be excited to hear about that?
Nah.
That's one of those like unenthusiastic gaps of silence I would edit out if we were audio only, but now it's all authentic.
You gotta keep it rolling.
This is a device that I understand Marques has spent some time with. You had some time with the 3900 milliamp hour phone, didn't you, Marques?
Which one are we speaking of now?
The one that's the size of a Nexus 7, basically, from a noted Chinese telecommunications firm.
Yes.
Do you have it with you?
Is it the size of a Nexus? It's a little smaller, I think.
It is a little smaller. There it is. I will lock the camera on Marques so he can show everybody what I'm talking about.
I think I can safely use it with one hand, which I can't really do on the Nexus 7, so I think it's a little smaller.
At the same time, though, I mean, like, in your hand. Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I do not have I sent mine to Joe Levi because he's doing a piece on it. But yeah, I can't use it one-handed terribly effectively. Like, I'm in my video review, you can see I drop it all over the place. Are you doing some coverage on it, Marques?
I'm working on it, yeah. I have a bunch of stuff that's queued up that I haven't even shown on anything yet, so this
awesome.
is one of them. Yeah.
You heard it here first. Well, this is, if everybody's wondering what this big device is we're talking about, this is the Huawei Ascend Mate2 4G LTE, which is a very long brand name, but it's deserved for such a big phone. And the big standout for this device, Marques, if you don't mind, I'm going to lock the camera on you, and you can kind of Vanna White it for a second. It's a winning presentation. Its principal distinction is not just that it's big. It's got a 6-inch display. Its principal distinction is that it has a massive battery. I think I got that spec right. I think it's 3,900 milliamp hours. It's near the size of the Nexus 7, the first Nexus 7 battery. Thanks, Marques.
Yeah. Is it wrong that that's not even that impressive anymore to me? 3,900.
Well, somebody had one with what, 4,400?
Yeah, and somebody had like a 5,000 milliamp hour one that's coming out recently. That was actually in the rundown before I took it out to like slim down the news section. But yeah, no. Okay, so numerically, yes, it's not that impressive. But in real world, you get that thing. No, it's still impressive. Forget it. That first Nexus 7 came out in 2012, dudes. Like, it's not that long ago that this tablet, which I also don't have because Adam Dowd has it, it like had this big old battery in it, and then because it wasn't optimized terribly well, it had kind of crappy battery life. But that is not the problem with this phone. Like, this device it will last forever. Oh, you've got it?
Hey, I have the developer edition.
Oh, nice. Yes, the fancy one with the red like stains on it from some really nasty press stop incident. Yeah. So anyway, listen, let's get to the point. We're doing a giveaway thanks to Huawei, who is interested in letting everyone know that you can get a Huawei Ascend Mate2 4G LTE from Pocketnow. And I'm serious. You can fire this phone up on like a Friday, and on Sunday night, still have some juice left to like Netflix a show, or at least if you use it like I did, you can. The details of this giveaway are going to be announced in a post that goes live after this podcast, and the winner of this giveaway is going to be announced on next week's Pocketnow Weekly podcast. So if you are tuning in just for that, you will have to tune in again next week, and maybe you'll get hooked, and maybe you won't, but you will have the opportunity to win the phone. And we're not going to make you jump through any crazy hoops. It's just going to be a question of, I think, commenting on a post, and also probably liking us on Facebook. So anyway, if you want
making memes about Michael's hair.
You definitely have to do that. Yeah. I have an outtake in today's comparison about my hair, actually, I think. Yeah, it's pretty gross today.
I have to say, through that little explanation, like the latter half of that, you kind of sounded like Adam Sandler, and you can hate me for saying that.
Wow. I've never gotten. I mean, like, you've gotten Seth Rogen. I've got Seth MacFarlane. Adam Sandler has never been. That comparison has never been.
It was a little high-pitched thing. I watched Happy Gilmore the other day.
Oh, that's a fun movie. Yeah.
Somebody's closer.
As I was about to burst into a whole whoopity-doo thing with my levels like they are, I was probably going to blow some speakers if I attempted. So I'll spare you.
I was just gonna say, I mean, like at this point, Stephen, we have to ease into getting used to your voice. So I don't think there's a better way to do that.
Who's gonna go all the way back here?
It's funny because before on the audio show we would make jokes about Stephen having the worst mic ever, and like I think it's actually not going to be sustainable. I think I actually have to send you a mic now. Because it's so painful. Well, that's all right. Let's get through it. Stephen, why don't you usher us into the news segment and tell us about the first piece of big news from the week? And because we got to chew on this a little bit. This is
right.
Big news that I don't give a damn about. Go ahead.
So even before we had the Galaxy S5 premiere this past spring, there was all this talk that we were going to get a 2K version of the phone. Either it was going to be 2K or there'd be the normal version and the special Prime edition. And of course, that didn't happen, and we've been holding on to the hope that it would turn up sooner or later, either as the S5 Prime, Galaxy app, something. All of a sudden, this week, Samsung drops the Galaxy S5 LTE Advanced Edition for South Korea on us. It's got the 2K display, it's got an upgraded SoC, this Snapdragon 805 instead of the 801, the normal Galaxy S5. It's a repeat of last year, basically, where we got that LTE-A Snapdragon 800 Galaxy S4 a couple months after the Snapdragon 600 version. And so it's everything that we were hoping for, except we can't buy it. It's only going to be in South Korea, and Samsung said it's staying there for the time being. So great if you're in South Korea, not so great for the rest of us. Or if you're in South Korea and just dropped several $100s on a non-LTE-A 1080p Galaxy S5, well, hopefully there's a very strong used market there.
All right, so I want to ask that question. Is it really a bad thing? Is that horrible news for the rest of us who can't buy this thing? Because Marques, as you know, I tweeted at you when you sort of re-announced this thing, and I was like, I can't get myself amped about this. Can someone tell me, Marques, we'll start with you. Can you tell me why, in the name of hell, I should be excited about this, considering my stance on the spec sheet?
Right now, there isn't really any, especially because it's just South Korea, so that kind of sucks for everyone else.
But even if it came out here, like even if it was launching at a New York event tomorrow, I mean, I wouldn't feel a tingle. I mean, should I? Am I wrong?
Well, it's not first at anything anymore, so it's not necessarily exciting. We have the G3 with that awesome display already, so it's not the first. LTE-A is kind of almost a thing. Verizon's kind of doing their thing, but again, it's not the first to happen here. So not the most mind-blowing phone, even if it is an upgraded version of what's already a flagship. So I guess you're right. There's not that many reasons to just be off the wall about this phone.
It's a combination of bragging rights and I think a little bit of sour grapes. I mean, it doesn't even matter if the 2K display makes a big difference. You get spent a whole lot of money on this device, and now even if its slightly better version comes out so soon after, it's understandable that people are going to be a little, downtrodden about this, even if there's not a significant difference to the user experience.
A little mopey about it, yeah.
Yeah.
I understand that. Actually, I've seen some blowback and comments from buyers of the Galaxy S5 who are very irritated that this has come out. But, Stephen, I will admit that I was looking at the rundown when you were describing this device. I understand about the LTE-A and the super high-res display. Are there any physical changes to the chassis? This is not the metal F, is it?
No, it doesn't appear to be. So that still gives us hope that there might be this new version of it coming out. Well, we don't know when. If this is going to be sometime around when the Note 4 comes out, or if it's just vaporware we're never going to see. But no, there appear to be other 2K Galaxy S5 looking devices out there that we still haven't seen.
Okay.
The good thing I think is that the backside is different. It's not that faux golf glove leather thing. It looks brushed kind of like the back of the G3.
Oh, I see. That's
Bow.
Interesting. We know that Samsung can actually do that pretty well from their from the Ative S line, which has some of the best fake metal I've ever seen. So that would be interesting to see. I don't know. I just still it's just not as exciting to me now. This is a device. I mean, this is something to be. We're going to talk about this in a bit, but I just do something different. Do that. Go ahead, Steven.
Sorry, the official LTE-A Galaxy S5 does have the same dimpled look as the Galaxy S5 we know. I think Taylor's referring to the leaked spec, which is
was that as
not official.
GF?
Yeah.
Rumor leak thing.
Well, I give up.
Yeah. Taylor, you're going into the cone of silence. All right. Well, let's in keeping with our new shortened news segment, let's move on to the next thing because I just don't care. Are you gonna? I will ask one more question about this. Would this be worth a re-review to you, Marques, if you got an LTE-A version in and it was network compatible? I mean, I don't know how often you do those.
If LTE-A was the only difference?
And the 2K. I mean, it's.
I think with the new display, I would, because then you have to talk about battery life again and performance again, and make sure these things all still hold up. So I think I would. I have the Oppo Find 7 in house. I already reviewed the 7A, where really the only difference now is some internal specs and that new 2K display. So I am probably going to do a new video about that too. So.
Or even just to see the 805 difference. If there's a performance versus the 801.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see as well. Especially, and it starts. I feel like it matters at that point. If you're doing a 2K display, then that processor bump might actually affect performance. I'm interested in because we reviewed the 7A as well. That was you, Taylor, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and we are reviewing the 7. I think Tony's reviewing the 7 because we couldn't get a US one. Does yours work on US bands, Marques?
Yeah, I put a T-Mobile SIM in it, and it's fine. It's not. I don't know if it's LTE, but It works. So that's
the problem with mine is that I never got data on the Find 7A. So it worked, and there were other Find 7As in the US that worked perfectly fine on T-Mobile and at&t, but I literally could not get data. So it showed that I had 4G and LTE, all these other things did not work. It was always said it was disconnected, and I wiped it. I tried all kinds of different things, and nothing ever worked. So
I'd be very interested to see how the display compares with the G3. Do you have some initial thoughts on that, Marques? We're going to talk about the G3 in a second and the gadgets in hand, but
I've spent exactly 1 day with the Find 7, and I spent way more time with the G3. To be honest, I love the G3 display, but I haven't spent enough time with the Find 7 to tell you if it's necessarily better or worse.
All right.
Do you think the G3's display is extremely warm?
Actually, hold on a second. We're gonna get to the G3 because there's a whole segment on that I want to get to. I've got a lot to say about the display because I think we're gonna have a nice spirited disagreement here, and that's gonna be a good time. I want to talk about the first smartphone from Amazon, the Fire Phone. Marques, you explained this one in a video. Do you want to take us through the briefing on this one?
Oh yeah. Okay, so the Fire Phone, we already have the Kindle Fire, right? So imagine a Kindle Fire. Shrunk down into a smartphone size with some decent smartphone specs. It's a 4.7-inch 720p display. It's really, really bright. Decent processor package. 2400 milliamp hour battery or something like that. Not really important. What's important is the features, where number one, they have a multitude of front-facing cameras. I believe one on each corner for this sort of a face tracking. They call it, what is it called? Dynamic perspective is what it's called, and it basically shifts and tilts the perspective in the user interface and in some apps and in some games, and it's a pretty neat effect. It's not necessarily 3D, but gives you some new angles to play with. It's fun to mess around with, the gyroscope. And you also have what's called Firefly, which is a dedicated button on the side of the phone where you press it and it'll open your sensors, your camera, and your microphone, and it'll scan whatever you're looking at or listening to and then give you an Amazon link to buy it. It'll recognize it, basically. And that's the main features of this phone. It has the Mayday tech support and all the other Amazon Kindle Fire stuff that you'd expect. But like I said, it seems like a shrunk-down Kindle Fire with these same features. And I said, basically, that's unnecessary. Like, you don't have to make a phone just to give people that. I said you could have made it a $5 or $10 app and packaged that up. But now, instead, they have to deal with selling this $650 phone on an AT&T exclusive for $200, which is, it's supposed to be competitive, but it's not really giving anyone any advantage in any department over, say, a Galaxy S5 or an iPhone. So
that's the thing. Yeah, I would have disagreed with you if this pricing was different. I would have said, yeah, there is a compelling reason to do this if you want to compete on price with some other people. But man, yeah, at a $600 retail cost. $199 on contract is where all these other flagships are sitting, and even people I know who are fully invested in the Amazon ecosystem, like my girlfriend and Taylor, I think you have similar thoughts. Like, this is not a compelling enough package to get them to jump over. So I really think the pooch screw here is on the exclusivity and the price together. It seems like a really big disaster.
Yeah, the price is super important. You could give absolutely zero advantage over any other phone, but if you priced it well enough, it would be in the conversation, and people would talk about it for that reason. But
you remember last summer when we were first talking about, when this was starting to crystallize, there were all these rumors about it being totally free, subsidized for Prime members, and Amazon would make its money by all the data it's gathering, because there are a lot of ways this phone gives you to buy products and things, and this is like the complete polar 180 opposite of what we were expecting.
Yeah. The only reason anybody ever cared about, say, the Kindle Fire tablets is because they were cheap. Nobody cared that it was Amazon services on a tablet.
Until they bought it.
Well,
I think it was the gateway drug was the price, and then people got it. It's like, oh wow, it's pretty cool that like Amazon, all my Amazon content lives in this carousel. I think that.
Well, the problem is that you can get all your Amazon content anywhere else too.
Yeah.
Sacrifice things. I've used several Kindle tablets, and I've used them for a few minutes, and the carousel interface just throws me for a loop. I hate it. But that aside, I think really the only draw was the price. Nobody is going to go out and say, oh, I can get all my Amazon content on this phone and pay the exact same thing that I'm going to pay for a phone where I can do that and more. It doesn't make sense logically. Now, to a basic consumer who doesn't look at it that way, it's an easy sell. But I think afterwards, after they get their hands on the phone, they might be a little upset with it.
It's like selling a Chromebook for the same price as a regular laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. That's a really good analogy.
My initial thought was to compare this to was to actually come back and play devil's advocate for a second and say, but this is Amazon. This is one of the world's largest brands. There's some cool technology in here, and it looks like a pretty fun phone. They're going to make this work. But of course, another huge brand tried to make an exclusive phone work on AT&T with the HTC First, and it just completely didn't work out, as we all know. And
that was a good phone. It was. Now, Facebook Home kind of screwed it up, but it was stock Android on pretty nice hardware for cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it started out a little expensive. It got cheap quick when no one wanted it. It came free on contract within, I think, a month of its launch.
I wonder how poor sales have to be before Amazon decides to try to cut the price of this thing in half, because it's
fire sale.
Fire sale.
Yeah.
I can't remember who said that on Twitter, but it was great.
Fire sale. Yeah. No, but that's a solid point too, because when you lock yourself into to that price, and it's confusing because Amazon, it's not like they can't afford to lose some money on this thing initially. To if you're launching a new category of device for yourself, a new self-branded category, wouldn't you want to just go for volume at first rather than trying to make any kind of profit off it? I understand that the 3D positioning cameras and such drive the cost up a bit, but lose money on the thing for a half a generation or something.
But it's not even the sort of feature you can justify driving the price up. That's like, oh, it's neat, but if that's going to make the difference between a $350 phone and a $650 phone, you can't sell that to consumers. They're not going to accept that kind of markup for what they get.
For something that's going to freak most people out, because we're on the biggest fringe of like a privacy collapse here. Like the internet is, everybody is stressing privacy, privacy, privacy. You have control over it, and then here Amazon is talking about a phone that tracks your face everywhere you go.
No, didn't you hear that they got to fund it? Problem solved. Deal done. We can stop.
It's just, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, especially when Amazon has pretty decent apps for iOS and Android. They could do all of this exact same thing in an app.
Yeah.
And it would just, I imagine they would probably make more money off of it that way, because one, there's no cost to build a phone, and two, you're fighting for market share against a company like Samsung, who HTC, BlackBerry, Palm, all these other companies have just completely plummeted because Samsung is doing so well, and nobody can really compete with them on the same level. Except for maybe Apple, and it's not even on the same level. There was I think it was Stefan, he shared a picture of market share over a certain amount of time, and Samsung is this giant bar, and granted it's a skewed chart, but Samsung is this giant bar, and all the other manufacturers are like tiny little bars at the very bottom of this map, and Amazon is second. I think it's tablet market share for Android.
Oh,
but it's just a fraction of what Samsung is, and that's I don't even know how to finish that point. It's just why would you
share is level of error? It's 1 or 2%. Can you accurately count market share that small?
Right.
What's the point? I want to start to kind of pivot this to a carrier discussion as we move into the next point. But let's give some props here. First of all, there's some cool stuff that I still want to try out in the Fire phone. I have a feeling that I'm going to have to argue somewhat fiercely to get to review this thing, because I have a feeling Tony's not going to want to review it. But maybe we'll see. No one cares. Do not do that. But no, I have a feeling that there's going to be some cool stuff to try out, so I'd like to review it.
But let's review the Lucid 3.
We're not continuing in that conversation. However, I have a question for Marques. Are you going to review this thing? I would imagine so. People would love to hear about it from you.
I don't know. I said I wasn't going to buy it because it doesn't come out for another month, so I really don't want to buy it. But the amount of questions I've gotten about it just prompted me making that video in the first place. So I might end up reviewing it if people find some other reason to. But at the moment, I haven't hit the buy button.
Buy it and compare it to the HTC First.
Oh boy.
Ooh, that's a rough one.
Which I also don't have.
And speaking of the first, while we're in that same sector, we got to give props to AT&T here. I mean, that carrier is so aggressive with securing exclusives that when the rumors were leading up to this launch that it was going to be exclusive to AT&T, I was like, of course it is. And then John Ledger at T-Mobile's just throwing shade at the thing on Twitter. It's I forgot what he said, but it was hilarious. And AT&T, if you want the biggest device portfolio in the whole country, you've got it, AT&T. Good job. I don't know what they're going to do with it. I don't know if it's going to be doing Amazon any favors whatsoever. I don't think it is.
It doesn't work for anyone anymore. It doesn't. Look at the HTC first, the Lumia 900. Was it the 920 also an exclusive?
As well, and the 1020 was an exclusive as well.
The 1020 is probably the only one that's actually done decently well out of all of those, and it's because the camera. It's not because it's an exclusive. And basically, the only reason AT&T is securing these exclusives is not because it works so well for the manufacturers. It's because it hurts their competition.
Yes. Well, I don't think there's any question that AT&T is acting in its own self-interest. I mean, yeah, this is not breaking news or anything like that. I'm just saying,
my point is,
they decided they wanted to offer the biggest portfolio of devices in the country, and they're frickin' executing on it, and it's pretty impressive. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, my point is, why do manufacturers keep doing it? Is it because why
do they keep agreeing to it?
Yeah, is it because other carriers aren't going to take their phone anyway?
I think Marques said it. Is it money?
Money, lots of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because they can't have control. I mean, you end up like Sony if they don't like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true.
You got the game.
I have some sort of city emergency happening outside my door. I don't know what you said, Stephen. What?
It's just part of the game. You have to play if you want to sell your phones at any significant number in the U.S. You have to, get in bed with, if not multiple carriers, and at least one and have the exclusivity deal. But you need to get it on the shelves one way or another.
Speaking of, Stephen, why don't you tell us what AT&T's chief GSM competitor has been doing? There was this event in the same... This was cool, by the way. If Stephen, as you cue that up, I just want to say, when Amazon announced their press event in Seattle and T-Mobile announced the Uncarrier event the same day in Los Angeles, I was like, man, nobody's going to fly from one to the other inside 6 hours. And then I think it was T-Mobile that changed it. They said, hey, we know a lot of you guys are going up to Amazon, so we're going to have our event in Seattle instead, and we'll have it on the same day, and we'll all party. It'll be great. I thought that was really cool.
Crazy.
Yeah. So tell us what happened last night. It was last night, right?
No, 2 days ago. Yeah. We were expecting this Uncarrier 5 event, so every once in a while, T-Mobile has these big Uncarrier get-togethers where they're going to announce something that they're doing new and different. It's generally contrary to the way that we expect carriers to operate, at least in the U.S. We've heard about the getting rid of early, or at least paying for early termination fees from other carriers, that sort of thing. And actually got a little surprise here. First, we got our Uncarrier 5 announcement, which is T-Mobile letting users preview its network. So it's hooking them up with an iPhone 5S for a week. You try the phone, you try the network, you see how they work together, you get to form your opinions of it. You don't like it, give the phone back to T-Mobile. As long as you didn't break it, no harm, no foul. You can move on to another carrier, try them out at your leisure. If you did mess it up, then they're going to ask you to pay $100 for it, or you can always keep it if you liked the experience. It's just a little weird how it's only the iPhone 5S. I'm sure that's going to rub some people the wrong way, especially if you already have a phone and you want to know how your phone performs on T-Mobile's network. You can't just get a SIM for a week and plug that in.
Well, is there anything stopping you from popping out your SIM of the iPhone 5S and putting it in your phone and seeing how that works?
Well, that's a good question. Technically, I'm not sure if there would be or not. I'm curious to find out. Someone should give that a spin. But beyond that, we also heard about this Uncarrier 6 deal, which was completely unexpected. They did sort of a twofer here, where they have this new policy that's going to give users of certain plans access to streaming music for free. And they're going to be adding more networks to it based on, they're letting users vote to see what services they want incorporated. It's going to pay for data. It's all great stuff, except that you have to be on certain, I think it's a simple choice plans. It's not going to work with the prepaid stuff, which really is the most attractive option from T-Mobile at the moment. So it's a hit and miss.
Gentlemen, your thoughts. Taylor, Marques, weigh in. What's is this impressive enough to continue T-Mobile's upward progression?
I think it's enough. I mean, they've already done a lot so far, and that alone is one reason why I'm sticking with them for now. But the biggest thing is service, because outside cities it's
pretty rough. Yeah.
Like I spent 2 weeks ago, I spent my time in Wilmington, and I spent most of that week on Edge if I had service at all.
Welcome to my life.
Yeah. So there were some parts, like if you hit downtown Wilmington, and I'm talking like 5 square blocks. You hit downtown Wilmington, and you have perfect 4G, and you drive out of that, and it's Edge. So
you heard it here first. If you're traveling to Wilmington, you know where to go for your
downtown.
Downtown. That's a exclusive tip. I wrote a piece on T-Mobile, on my experience with T-Mobile a couple months back, where I was rather surprised. What?
I asked if you actually heard there. You were pleasantly surprised with the quality of the network, right?
I was indeed, yeah. And even as I recall, it was even in kind of not so downtown areas. Like I got coverage in more places than I expected. I should revisit that. And actually, I was going to ask. I was like, wow, we should do a test drive. Let's review the test drive. But I'm like, no, it's just a network test. Like there's nothing special about the iPhone 5S. It's just so maybe we can revisit this and see. I would be interested to check it out though, because if there's a cooler network, like we talked about AT&T having all the exclusives. Some people like Verizon a lot. Poor Sprint, but T-Mobile's like the coolest network in the nation, I think.
No.
What?
Cooler than Boost?
No. Where are you at? That is the question. What do you use for connectivity over there, Marques, in Jersey?
I'm an AT&T person. I'm kind of in the same boat as Taylor, where T-Mobile isn't the best in a lot of the areas I frequent. The only thing worse, I think, than it is Sprint, which literally doesn't work in Hoboken, which is not a small place.
Let's just take the two worst networks and just throw them together, let them sort it out.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how many people like hop on board and see like, wow, I think I can do this T-Mobile thing and actually change, because basically the whole idea is getting as many reasons as possible for someone to switch onto your network. They're in the business of attracting new customers. And because I'm pretty sure I saw probably a YouTube video of some guy going around asking people like, what would it take you to switch if your competing network was 10% cheaper? Would you switch if it was the same? Yeah, no. Or what if it was 20% cheaper? Would you switch? No, probably not. What if it was 50% cheaper? Would you switch? People would just, I don't really care. I'm getting service, I'm paying, and that's my contract. So
interesting. So like in this probably unscientific poll, but people just, it wasn't a consideration of price. It was people cared more about service quality.
Yeah, it would take a lot to get people to think about paying an early termination fee and getting out of their contract and signing up for a new contract and starting over with a different carrier. It took a lot, like a big price difference for people to even think about it. So they're trying to come up with other more interesting, creative ways to get people to think about switching, and I think this is a good idea.
It is interesting. They're certainly doing a very interesting job. I do continue to hope that we don't see a merger between Sprint and T-Mobile for reasons that we've talked about on the show quite a bit. And I know we have a lot of international listeners, so I don't want to get too tied up in the U.S. carrier chat. I would love to move on. Stephen, I had to mute you temporarily. Are you back?
He's gone. Goodbye.
No. It's probably my fault. Let me see if I can. Steven?
I do want to say that yesterday somebody
there you go.
somebody was sitting beside me at the coffee shop, and they were like, I just got a Galaxy S5 on Sprint, and I can't get 4G. Can you fix it for me? I'm just like,
nope. Well, it's Sprint, and it's not just that Sprint is incompetent. I want to make that point because I understand it's very difficult for Sprint, who bought an incompatible network, got shafted on Spectrum, had to deploy this crappy 4G solution, had to replace that 4G solution, had to refarm for 800. Like, they have not been in a great strategic position for since 2000.
Their customer service is top notch, though. It is.
Are you joking, or are you
serious?
Was
when I was with them. I'm being serious. When I had Sprint, it was great.
Stephen, welcome back.
I don't know. That was like 6 years ago.
So, have you? I know the answer from Taylor and Stephen because they've not played with this. Marques, have you spent any time with the Nokia Z Launcher?
I tried a couple times to download it on my G3. There's a bus.
Oh yeah.
Unsuccessfully. So I'm gonna try it again later. I tweeted at you because right when I was trying to download it unsuccessfully, you were already like shooting a video on it. I was like, you must be a wizard because I just can't get this to work. So I'm gonna try it again probably right after this weekend and see if I can get it to work.
You know who we have to thank for that?
Video.
You know what we have to thank for that? We have Clinton Jeff on Twitter. Special thanks. I don't know if you're watching right now, Clinton, but I believe he's with Unleash the Phone still. Am I correct on that, Taylor?
Yep.
I can't always see you. Just because it's a video podcast doesn't mean I'm always looking at your face. Say yes.
I know. I just went. That was a dedicated silence to me not knowing. So.
Anyway, Clinton Jeff, whatever, wherever you are, thank you because he, I like basically. I don't think I woke up to that, but I was doing something else, and Tony sent me an email like, "What do we know about this?" And it was like, Clinton Jeff tweeting about the Nokia Z Launcher. I'm like, "What's that?" And then we hopped on it right away and were able to film a video pretty quickly. So I actually didn't know what you were referring to, Marques. I was just kind of pretending to be cool, so I didn't know you couldn't download it. Well, this Z Launcher, I'm going to say this: it's interesting. I'm only saying it's interesting because it's from Nokia. It's from the remnants of Nokia that. Maybe remnants is too strong a word. It's from the part of Nokia that was not purchased to become Microsoft's devices and services division, or mobile devices division. So, if this were made by someone else, I don't think that I would care about it so much. Anytime you build a UI where I have to draw a letter on the screen to get to anything, I'm just like, what are we doing? Why does anyone want to do this? I can do anything faster than that. So that's not the compelling part of it to me. The interesting part is that you have this center-mounted list of apps, and the longer you use the platform, the smarter it gets. So if the phone determines that every 3 p.m. on a Thursday, say, you're doing laundry, and you're like posting Instagram videos of the washing machine go around because apparently you're the world's like dullest person, it's going to put Instagram at the top of the available possibilities list so that it's there for you when it knows that you want it, which is pretty cool. And we see this kind of intuitive stuff being done by a lot of people, Google Now, etc., LG with the smart notices thing. So that's not a new concept, but it's a new execution on that concept. So I think that's interesting. What did you guys think based on what you've seen?
I actually haven't seen the video. I've been really busy since then, so.
I hate you, and you're excommunicated. Marques?
I saw the video when it first came out, and I saw a couple of people take a look at it. Seems what was the bug you had that was just not like you had one or like if you go over 4 letters or something, it just doesn't work. It decides not to work.
Yeah, I just realized I have the damn thing here. That's weird. So
yeah.
I had to return this from. So this is the LG G3. This is a blown out display, everyone. It's all white. It's a very minimalist UI. All right, so this is about the best picture I can get, and I'm going to find Z Launcher in the non-alphabetized list of things. There it is. So this is what it looks like when it finally launches. Boom, and there's my list of apps. Also, contacts can go in the middle here if the phone decides that you contact a person a lot. That happens, and which is pretty cool. So what you do is you draw a letter, and I'm going to be like what? Instagram, right? So I do an I, and then it filters the list by I, and
one.
Or one, yeah. And I'm actually not going to do that because we're live and there's stuff like, because it'll show contacts too, like I don't want to display phone numbers or anything like that. But if you go, oh man, and I just hit home and I went back to the launcher I didn't mean to go back to. So if you want to do a Google search, if you go past 4 letters, it'll automatically do an internet search. Good sentence, huh? So what do I want to search for? Pocketnow, P-O-C-K, and fail. It will do, like, it'll start filtering by, so if I do POC, maybe it'll start filtering. Yeah, so here's the Pocketnow Weekly podcast. Here are a bunch of bookmarks that I've been to with regard to Pocketnow, and hopefully nothing else.
If I had a Galaxy Note 3 and I use my stylus a lot, I'd probably try this out. Like, immediately.
Oh yeah, if I used a stylus a lot, sure. Do you know if it works with a digitizer-enabled device?
I would hope so. I can try that on my Note 3 when I try it.
That's a good call.
When you are also a wizard.
Yes. If you need me to send that to you directly, I'm happy to do that once I get past this weekend. Oh, guys, do you know what I'm doing this weekend? This is not about mobile phones.
Oh. Then I don't care.
Steven, are you? Do you know what I'm doing this weekend? Also, are you like winding up some like model race cars over there? What is? There's so many audio things happening. Maybe that's not you.
I don't hear a thing. It's everything is getting about 1 million times gains. Probably a ant walking too close to the phone.
Probably so. I will just tell you. I will stop this stupid guessing game, guys. I'm going to a Star Trek convention this weekend.
Oh God!
It is going to be baller. I'm going to wear a Starfleet uniform in public and have sandwiches and get made fun of just like it's 3rd grade, and it's going to be great. Boston Star Trek Convention. Go if you live in Boston. It'll be fun. Say hi to me.
Too, but for a totally different reason.
Wait, you're going to be in Boston this weekend?
Yeah. On Saturday, I have a home game against the Boston Ultimate Frisbee Pro Team, and then on Sunday, I drive to Boston and play more Ultimate Frisbee there.
What time is this happening? I want to go watch you play Ultimate Frisbee.
The home game is in New York on Saturday, and then on Sunday it's a tournament, so it's probably not spectators, so it's just a bunch of teams showing up, so not as interesting.
In Boston Common or something like that?
I don't even know where the fields are. I'm driving.
That means you're uninvited, Michael.
Yeah, I'm getting there. We'll see.
I'm like, so where exactly? When is your bus gonna?
Marques is like, nah.
You know what's weird? I got strangely bamboozled by you for a second. I was acting like we had never met. Like I've never met you in person. I'm like, oh man, we got to do this. No, we
call it starstruck all the time.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I've just wanted to use the word bamboozled for a long time. So
YouTuber starstruck.
Check that off.
Yeah. FaceTime camera, show webcam settings panel. Is this going to change my exposure at all? No, it's not. Okay, so let's talk about the last bit of news. Nokia reveals. This is my. I don't. Steven, you get to say this because you wrote my favorite headline of the whole day. Make sure you give us a nice low reading of it.
Nokia reveals smart trousers for integrated Qi wireless charging because why not?
Steven, tell me if I'm wrong, but these are pants that charge your phone wirelessly, right?
Yeah, well, they're just pants, but they have a secret little pocket in there for Nokia's new wireless charging pad, which has its own battery in it. So you charge the wireless charging pad, you slip it in the trousers, and then your phone's ready to be charged whenever it's in your pocket. It's a couple steps of needless complication, but hey, it's living in the future. This is going to be a couple bumpy steps at the beginning, but come on, it's awesome.
This is one of the most fun things ever. I didn't know about this, and suddenly I got an email from Adam Lane in the middle of the day. The subject line was like, review unit. I'm like, oh, Adam wants another Windows phone or whatever. And sure enough, it's not that. He's like, I think it would be great if I could wear these pants for a while. I'm like, Adam, what are you talking about? And then I click on the thing. Oh, hey. So, yeah. Wireless charging pants. I like it.
I kind of love this picture, too, where they're just, like, resting on a waist mannequin.
Awkwardly down.
Like, look at what we're doing.
I would buy them. I would buy them. By the way, I'm using the Q&A to kind of address this right now. We're not answering this question. It's not really a question. Yeah, the next giveaway would be great. Washable smart pants and smart shirts. I think that is a solid idea for a giveaway. I want to make it clear. Go ahead, Steven.
It makes me so nervous. The pocket there with the zipper that the phone slides into. I mean, it's just asking to eat up the screen. Make it a nice, like, felt lined Velcro or something. Makes me very, very nervous.
I was going to say that there was one piece of smart attire, like a sport coat, that was really cool. And it wasn't wireless charging built in. It was a Faraday cage built in.
Oh, so when you don't want anyone calling you, slide your phone in there, no reception.
I think they have a software feature called Do Not Disturb, but
yeah, that's the thing. There's also something called courtesy mode. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we don't need our pants to teach us how to be polite. Then again, maybe we do. I don't know.
Heard it here first. Teach us how to be polite.
That is right. That is something from your 57-year-old host today.
Oh.
I think it's about time that. Thank you for the news. Thank you for.
Oh no!
What?
I can't stop it. This is happening.
Steven, I tell you what. Do you want to go? You seem to have some trouble with the connection. Yeah, he doesn't want to go, but he's being forced to go. Okay, so that's what he meant. That's what he meant by this is happening. All right, gents, we're going to be without Steven for a minute. I think it's time during this interlude that we move into a new segment, one of several for the podcast. And Marques, this is when we're going to start mining your knowledge of a device that you've carried for a while alongside us. You've carried it longer than I have. Folks, this segment is called Gadgets in Hand. This is based on the Pocketnow U-Review. If you remember, we ran a series of videos back in the day. They were Hangouts based called the U-Review. We said, hey, we've got a Galaxy S4. Ask us anything about it. And we would invite you to come in the room, ask us things about it, and it was a lot of fun. We're going to use Q&A to manage it this time. Any questions you have about the LG G3 or the special camo Galaxy S5 Active.
I have a question for you about that.
I bet you do. Let us know. Shoot them to the Q&A right now, folks, and we'll get to them as they go. Taylor, why don't you go ahead and ask me your question?
Does the camo match your camo shorts?
Very important.
Very important. Yeah, no, it doesn't match my shorts. It does match the duck blind I hid out in to do this review. Yeah.
What about the mud pies?
Look at this thing. The mud pie. Oh, yeah. It was fun. I had to make a mud pie for the review video on this one because I threw it at the phone to demo how intensely rugged it was. I love it when a phone feels the need to communicate to you that, yes, I am super rugged. And
I'm real tough.
Yeah.
Look how tough I am.
Look how tough I am. If you drop me from 4 feet or less, you'll jostle my SIM card free. Like... Maybe you guys can tell me. I mean, should I, Steven? I had you on mute while you were coming in there. If you want to manage your own mute, I'll take you off. Maybe you guys can tell me if I'm overreacting on this. If you have a durable phone, and I'm serious, I'm not being snarky. If you have a phone that markets itself as very durable, and you drop it from less than 4 feet onto, yes, a hard surface, concrete or granite, and you jar the SIM card loose, and it requires a restart to get it working again, how does that make you feel about the durable phone?
Like it's not exactly as durable as they say it is.
That's how I feel, and I sort of.
So, did you cut the SIM card yourself? Was this not?
No, it's a mini. It's the mini SIM card that came with the thing. Like it's not. There's nothing wrong with that.
All right, then that shouldn't be.
I think also a lot of people are just not gonna know that the SIM card was jostled. Like if my sister looked at her phone and said, "Oh, I dropped my phone and now there's no service," she wouldn't necessarily think, "Oh, well, maybe I should go fix the SIM card." That's probably what happened.
That's true. There's a notification though. Thankfully, at least there was that where it was like, I got it in the tray. It's like insert SIM. I'm like, oh. Unfortunately, a soft reboot did it, but it was just frustrating. It wasn't.
I mean, there's a relatively large contacts on the ISO. Was it 7816? Pad layout. There are spring-loaded arms connecting it. There's no good reason why even very, very heavy shaking should upset the connection. It's designed. Yeah. I mean, these are mobile devices. It's designed to put up with this sort of stuff.
Especially considering that it was fixed by a soft reset. Like I didn't have to go in and reseat the SIM. But then again, I mean, I understand how it could have happened. I mean, this is 170 grams landing on its back with no bounce or like all that impact energy going into the phone. I get it, and I'm glad that all it took was a soft reset. What I'm not glad about is that 15 minutes later, I had ruined not this one because I had to buy this one because I destroyed the review unit. I ruined it with water because an impact jostled something free. I'm using jostled a lot today, but it knocked something free, and
you're also breaking a lot of phones lately.
Yeah, I know. It's not good. Marques, you have a lot of review devices that go through your office. You ever break one or lose one or anything?
Closest thing I've had to that is the Sony Xperia Z1, where I almost got my SIM card stuck because the tray is like a flexible plastic and it's really awful. And if you pull it out the wrong way, it gets stuck, and that almost ruined my SIM card.
Yeah,
I almost ruined this G3 here. Because this thing got stuck in the SIM tray. I was pulling it out, and the SIM fell out. The little nano SIM fell out, and this was stuck in there, and it was hooked on the pins.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
So I've been doing surgery over here.
Tweezer. Yeah.
Found another random SIM and slid it in to the slot, and it popped out. But
Yes, that's the thing. The tray in the Xperia Z1 is, instead of being rigid where you just slot it in, it's flexible. So it's really easy to accidentally leave the SIM in while you pull the tray out, which is...
yeah, it's like the one in the Z Ultra, right?
Public service advisory to anyone who reviews phones. It's also really easy on Sony phones to forget to check a check mark when you are resetting it to send to the next reviewer. And that check mark governs whether or not it removes all your pictures. Taylor and I have both run into this problem. And I have been tweeted by more than one fellow reviewer saying, "Hey, cool pics, bro." And I'm like, no! So make sure you reset your phones properly. Just saying. That's all.
It's a good thing I don't take any compromising photos.
Yeah.
That is a good thing. But at the same time, with a showerproof phone, you don't know. You don't know what to do. Who knows?
Don't pull a Scoble on us.
I had to test the selfie fist close gesture.
That's right. I had to see if it would hear kimchi in the shower. Actually, that's the G3. We should talk about the G3 because another thing I don't like about this live broadcast is we can see how many active viewers we have, and it's like plummeted ever since I brought out the Hunting Man's phone. So I'm going to put this aside. If anyone else has any questions on the Hunting Man's phone, you can say GS5 active in the thing, and I'll go get it later. But let's talk about the G3 for a second. This is crazy stuff. Taylor has something to say on it, which is good because I'm going to stack up the Q&As.
Oh, no, I was just going to ask one more thing about the Active. I was going to ask if it came with, like, a free copy of the Blue Collar Tour or something.
Yeah, it comes with a Larry the Cable Guy DVD as well.
A Get Her Done sticker that you can put on the back.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's... This is a remarkably specific question, so we're going to kind of avoid that one. This one is from Woody JL, asking, do you think the Oppo 2K phone would compete with the G3? Now, we touched on this a little bit earlier. I know, Marques, you've only had the Find 7 for about a day.
Yeah.
But this gives us an opportunity to talk about this display a little bit. Now, when I pop it on here, of course, we're going to see a wonderful bright palette and 53 new messages and all that kind of stuff. I love that knock code. And I have the brightness turned down so we can actually see the panel here. But, Marques, how much... I apologize. I didn't get to watch all of your G3 review. Mm-hmm. I saw about the first 3 minutes, and then I had to build this show. What has been your experience outdoors with this thing? Because it's really been disappointing to me as far as brightness.
Yeah, it's not the best outdoors. It's not the worst, though, either, so I wasn't, mad about it. And it does get pretty dim. What I was more disappointed with was the colors and the contrast. It's actually, I wonder if I can demo this, because I was holding it up next to the HTC One M8. I don't know if you can tell how much more pink it looks. The One M8, it's probably not going to show.
Not terribly
The G3 looks warmer, more pink, and just incorrect when compared to the whites.
Noticeably so.
Yeah, when compared to the whites of something more accurate, like the One or the S5 or anything else. So I'm going to test the colors of the Find 7 display, but I guess going back to the question of whether it competes or not, the G3 is coming to the United States. The Find 7 is not. So if you're looking specifically to get a phone that's going to show up on, a Verizon or a Sprint or a T-Mobile or a U.S. carrier, then Find 7 is not going to do that. But you can still pop I believe you can still get LTE on the Find 7 if you pop an AT&T SIM in there, and you just have to import it.
I'm seeing exactly what you're talking about. And I can't decide between these two, which you're not going to see it on mine either, probably. But whether the, am I in the right? Yeah. Whether the Galaxy S5. Hey.
One that's really white.
Hangouts are very difficult. Got to bring that thing down to 2 nits. All right, you know what? Forget it. Just forget it. The checkbox is. That's the thing, because this gets bright. We've got the hunting phone back. This thing gets as bright as you can possibly imagine, whereas this sucker does not. But I agree, Marques. When one of the first Twitter questions that I was asked when I was carrying the G3 around on a beautiful day outside was, "But how can you use it outside? What about that screen?" And I kind of didn't know what that person was talking about, because I was like, "Well, I mean, it's not the best, but it's also not the worst. I can use it. I don't know what the thing is." It was only upon spending some time with this and the regular Galaxy S5 with its crazy. I've seen a site that says that the brightness goes up to 700 nits on the S5. which is incredible. We got to get a colorimeter. But yeah, I don't know. It's just by comparison, it wouldn't be my first choice for an outdoorsy phone.
Really way off topic, but I really want a Google Play Edition S5. Continue.
I really want a Google Play Edition G3, so I understand. I'm glad you brought that up.
Actually, I want to say that I actually like the software on the G3. I mean, it's not my favorite ever. I would prefer, stock Android or something, but I don't mind it, and that's a first for me in LG.
I don't actively disagree with you. I think, I expected to like it a lot less than I actually ended up liking it.
Yeah. I mean, I like it a lot more with like a Nova launcher on it, or the Google Play Edition launcher or something, just because of the way the launcher behaves. I don't like it at all, but having a custom launcher on it, it's very, very usable for me, and I usually just don't like skins at all.
Yeah.
Just circling back to this, that was the first thing I noticed is the color on the G3. And I bring that up is because I use Sunrise Calendar, and it is perfectly white on here, on the One M8. And on here, it's not even just a little off-white in person. It's like brown.
Yeah.
And I saw that, and I'm like, did they update the app? Like, what's the deal? And I grabbed my M8, and it was white again.
Oh
so
my God,
it's brown. It's like a really light brown, and it's just weird.
But I also you get more pixels, more screen real estate, like more stuff on the screen. So that's
on the G3.
Like if I'm comparing it to a 1080p phone like the M8, yes, it is brown, but you also get way more pixels.
That was what the first one of the first things I noticed was that the Evernote widget, which I think I can show here. It was able to it occupied the same amount of like relative screen real estate. You can't see the text. There's much more text on the Evernote widget preview stripes. So it's like that's one of those things we've been crying for forever. Like, please let us use the screen more intelligently.
Or 7 icons across the bottom.
Oh yeah, look at that. I should lock the camera on you so we can look at that for a second.
Yeah, you should. Yeah,
you should also say it. Look at that. God, you are smart. What a good array. That looks nice, Taylor.
I do things in my spare time.
A truck has been backing up outside my place for about 4 minutes, so that's also exciting.
That's the nice thing about being on the 4th floor. There's nothing.
Yeah.
I'm on the 3rd floor, but I'm right above a bus stop, so no matter how high you go, you're going to get loud noises. I'm
in a 4x3 or 4x6 sound booth, and I'm still getting, hey, Steven, welcome back. And I'm still getting a whole lot of stuff. Anyway, we're talking about the G3. I got to mute myself, but you guys, this truck has got to get out of here. I hope it's delivering more Polar Seltzer, who don't sponsor the podcast, but I wish they would. I want to talk a little bit about the back of the G3 because Brendan Owens is asking about it. How does it feel? Taylor, Marques?
I actually spent a good amount of time writing about that in the review rebuttal, which went live today. And I am known for not liking plastic phones. I don't like things that are really cheap feeling, and I just don't. I don't like spending $700 on a phone and it feeling cheaper than something that I spent $200 or $300 on. I just don't. It's something that I will never be okay with. But not all plastic is bad. Like the plastic on the back of the Nexus 5, the Nexus 7, the One X, the Moto X. Getting confused here. Those plastics are all really nice. The Lumias, all of the Lumias have really, really nice plastics. And although this isn't exactly the same, that's what it feels like. I don't know if the gray model is the same, but this white model feels like the One X.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so that one's slick. This one feels like the One X, and it clearly has a removable battery door. But the difference is when you get a Samsung phone and it has a removable battery, the door is like really flimsy. This is not. It's really rigid. Like it'll twist, but it doesn't just flex. And that's one of the reasons that it feels so nice. It doesn't bend and flex. It's really strong.
Yeah.
I think it feels really nice.
I'm on this gray one, and it is definitely not the same polycarbonate. You were going to say?
Let me interrupt you, Marques. I'm sorry. Steven's phone is running at 130 degrees Fahrenheit, so he has got to bail. I want to thank Steven for showing up and ushering us through the news. And Steven, I hope we didn't burn up your Nexus 5.
No, this is the old Nexus 4, so screw this guy.
Oh, dear God. Well, I hope it spontaneously combusts.
I'll have to put a big aluminum heatsink on the back for next time, and maybe get an actual microphone wired into this thing. We'll see. One thing at a time.
Oh, God.
Thanks a lot, buddy. We really appreciate you you taking us through the current events, and it's great to see your face.
Sorry it couldn't work out longer, guys. Take care.
Have a good one, brother. Steven doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to ask him to make the giveaway post, so watch for that. Because I don't have time to do it. Marques was making a point about the polycarbonate.
Yeah, so I was coming from the HTC One M8. So first of all, the plastic is a lot lighter, but this gray polycarbonate is not like you were describing in the Moto X or the you have the same kind. It's definitely a little slick. But because of the back buttons, I hold the phone a little bit differently than I do when the buttons are on the side. So I actually don't mind it. I always have a clamp around the phone, so I'm not really touching all that much plastic. And it's curved, and I haven't had a problem with it. So despite it being almost as slick feeling as something like the Galaxy S4, I don't mind it.
My answer to that would be very similar, man. I mean, you may have seen that my review device came to me with a big old scratch in it. I'm not going to try and mess with the camera now to show it to you, but there's a big scratch running down the back panel, and there's a dent in it, too. So, like, this plastic is not what I would call durable, and I would come down on this thing harder for it if it were not for the fact that the design is quite beautiful. I keep using the same analogy in all my reviews, but I will say it again. This is like, if you look at this in cross-section, it's almost like looking down the length of a helicopter rotor blade or something. It looks like if you threw enough air over this thing, it would lift off. And
how is that different from this?
Then what, the One M8?
Yeah.
Let me lock the camera on you so we can see what you're asking. Well, the One M8, yes, I love the design of the One M8 as well, don't get me wrong, but now bring them up so that we can see them on their faces or on their backs, either way. Let's see the plan view. Yeah, the One M8, and it's not very nice. It's not very easy to see at this angle, but there are more angles. The LG phone is designed a little more aggressively. Bring it around to the front. There's more symmetry on the One M8 because of the boom sounds top and bottom, but we have that kind of interesting chin on the bottom, which you'll see once Taylor figures out how gravity works. How you doing?
No, I threw one down because it doesn't have a display. Like, it was off. That was a Verizon one.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, look at that. I mean, the LG product, to me, it's more impressive by virtue of the fact that it manages to evoke this fast sense, this very super modern, like look at me, kind of like the Oppo Find 5 or Find 7 rather. Yeah. And yet, at the same time, it's not, I don't know. I got distracted because my page reloaded, so I can't finish that point. But you know what I'm saying. It looks good. It
looks really good, and it feels nice.
I would say the G3 from the front is the best-looking phone out there, period.
It took me a second. It took me a second to like it, because it's all black, and then you have a white stripe at the bottom.
Oh, right. So, yeah, on this one, it's gray. It's a little more subtle, a little less intrusive. So, just a big black front, and then the gray chin.
Yeah, so the white chin took me a minute to get used to, but I actually really like this phone now. And if I got the G3, which I'm really actually considering, it would be in white.
Okay. I think I would still get
Stormtrooper, right? As Marques calls everything.
Well, the Stormtrooper, you have to have like the black contrast in there somewhere. Like a lot of that phone is white, and then you have the black screen on the front. But
that's a good point. Let's transition a little bit to the camera on this sucker, because Tech Snackles, which is a pretty cool word to say, has asked us about this. Taylor has a really big point that can't wait. What?
No, I just got a very important email about a very important video that I will need to go deal with.
You gotta go soon? Oh.
Soon-ish. Not now, but soon.
All right. The camera. I think it's a little disappointing, guys. I don't know what you think about this. I love having the OIS. I think the laser does a good job of autofocusing quickly, but when I'm taking photos in brightly lit environments, the brightly lit areas tend to blow out more often, and the colors seem, yes, they're oversaturated, which I actually kind of like, but they go in a weird way. The S5 versus G3 comparison is about to go live, and you'll see what I'm talking about. They're very comparable, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, definitely poor dynamic range. That's something I notice on a lot of smartphone cameras recently, especially when they try to like bump up contrast and color and make it seem like more popping and vivid. You tend to just sacrifice all dynamic range. But I love the autofocus. I was really impressed with it and consistently felt confident like taking pictures of things like that. Whatever I tapped to be in focus was always in focus. So I was happy with that. So that made me happy about the pictures I was taking. I didn't look too much into the quality of it just because Smartphone cameras to me all seem to be kind of leveling out unless you're below the average. I kind of tend to see a lot of the high-end ones near the same level. But
what about low light, though? I mean, did you spend some time in low light?
Low light, yeah, not so great.
No.
Because again, of the low dynamic range, you lose like all kinds of details, and it's also they tend to favor faster shutter speed with high ISO over slower shutter speed and low ISO, which is good and bad. It's good because in high light you never have any blur or motion blur from shaking your hands. But in low light, your pictures get really grainy and noisy, and that, on top of the low dynamic range, just makes them look bad. And I would expect them to look better with optical image stabilization, but not so hot in low light.
So would I. That was the expectation that I had. I mean, if it was using a low or a long exposure time, and the OIS would kind of work in concert with that and give us a nice low light image. But in addition to all the things you're saying, and in particular the noise, which is very visible in low light, also the shots in low light are astoundingly warm. It's almost like you slapped on you had some rusty water that you just kind of painted over the lens a little bit, and that's frustrating. But then the S5 does just as bad a job, the Galaxy S5, except its low light images are always tinted blue, with the noise kind of focused around the perimeter. I'm going to lock the camera on you there, Marques.
I took this at night right by the water. It's super yellow. The lights there weren't quite that yellow. I think I have one more. Yeah. Oh,
yeah. Is that a flash, or you're under a street light there?
That's under a street light. The flash would not illuminate nearly that much. But again, it seems kind of yellowy when it didn't have to be. It didn't seem like it was that yellow when I was taking the picture.
I would show you my low light shots, but they would appear as a black screen because I go with like super low light, and they'll be in the comparison. They're in the review already. They're not, I don't know. But that's frustrating for me because, as we've talked about before, and Taylor, I'll let you make a point, but it's like I take almost all of my pictures in low light because I hang out with a bunch of night owls, and it's like if you're at a bar and you want to take a picture of somebody, you want the phone to work right. And I just don't like resorting to the flash, but that's me. What were you gonna say, Taylor?
I like the faster shutter speed because a lot of these shots with the night lights, they would end up like really blurry or out of focus. But like the Empire the Empire State Building in the background, it's kind of sharp, and I like that. It's a good look. It just sacrifices a lot of other things to get that.
In the review rebuttal, I called it stabilized oil paintings. And yeah, the reason is this was the first picture I took with this phone, period, just like 30 minutes after I got it out of the box. And it's really difficult to see, but that is a bag of chips and a MacBook and everything. It's really, it probably doesn't translate as well in this picture. I'm not zoomed in. I guess I am zoomed in a pretty good ways, but it literally does not look like a picture and instead looks like a painting. And I'll send you the picture so you can see it later.
I'm familiar with that effect because Sony's artificial sharpening used to do that back in the day. Like you used to zoom in on the things and it was like pointillism with oil paint. I forgot what that art style is called. And before I sound too much more like an idiot, I'm feeling like the fury of the people who are listening only, who are not able to join for the video, that we're talking about all this crap that they can't see. So let's move on a little bit. I kind of like this question, and this will be our. I like that question, but it's not really a U-Review question, so I'm actually...
I can't see the questions that you're selecting for some reason, because the Q&A is not working on my end.
Yeah, Hangouts is a pretty buggy property, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, so this one kind of encapsulates a bunch of others, and then we'll close out with the G3. What are your thoughts, asks Dex Eve, of the LG G3 as a good base phone for the new Google Nexus /Silver, the new sort of direct from Google platform?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that seems to be the question every time.
I think I
want to see this as a Google Play.
Point. Yeah.
Like that's all. We say that every time. I want to see this as a Google Play edition, and I think if the Nexus 6 is based on this, or whatever stock Android phone is based on this, if it has a similar design with not too many takeaways, like the G2 and the Nexus 5 really aren't all that much alike, at least on the outside. But if the Nexus 5 or Nexus 6 or the next Google phone looks like this, yeah, that'd be a really good base. Specs and all. Yeah.
Although I kind of have doubts about that just because of the recent trend of lower price Nexus devices. I'm expecting it to be another separate phone again, as much as I'd love to see a Google Play Edition G3 or a Google G3. I wouldn't put money on it happening, but I would love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, even if they drop it to a 1080p to screen, I'd be perfectly happy. I mean, the Quad HD is nice, but you don't get enough benefits from it for it to be worth the extra cost.
Yeah, that was the thing. I kept looking at the display, and I think I said this in the review or something. I kept looking at the display, being reminded that I was looking at a 2K display or a Quad HD display, and then making myself impressed. It didn't go the other way around. It wasn't like, oh, wow, oh, my God, this is amazing. It was like, oh, I'm using the phone. Oh, right, this is a Quad HD, isn't it?
See, that's what I wanted to. I wanted to do a video going to like New York or something and just giving people the G3 and some other 5.5-inch 1080p display phone and saying, what do you think? Tell me about these phones. You notice anything? You notice anything being a little better about one than the other? Tell me what you're saying, and I'm willing to bet that almost no one would actually notice that, because you've probably never heard of the G3 at this point. You probably wouldn't have picked the G3 to be this is the highest resolution display on any phone ever, because it looks like it. I wouldn't expect anyone to say that.
Exactly, yeah, and I've wanted to do a video like that for a long time myself, and you got to commit to a pretty solid day of street interviews on that. That's a big project, but I would agree. I would love to do something like that because I think the result would be just as you've said. I think it would be like, oh yeah, no, that's fine. I think people would probably gravitate more toward one of the AMOLED panels on a Samsung phone because, well, it's brighter, but also the extra saturation. I don't know. I think people are probably more like me in that they favor added saturation over authenticity. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, but it's not even just colors. Like your black levels on the G3 are not nearly as low as even the M8's SLCD3. So it's not just white balance and even the really minuscule benefit of having a much higher resolution and density. It's these tiny little things that it's taken other manufacturers years to get right are just ever so slightly off with this 2K panel, and to me it's not worth it yet, and I don't really think there ever will be a time when a Quad HD phone display is really a make or break.
This is going to be a really interesting point, and I think I said this on last week's show, where we see whether a manufacturer decides to backpedal, the industry backpedals, because it's not necessary at this size. It really isn't. I firmly believe that the sacrifices you're making are not worth what you get in return. I think 1080p is the stabilization point, personally, but go ahead.
Somebody was making a point at some point several months ago that the technology is actually more efficient, and I don't see how that's possible because you have to have a brighter backlight because your pixels are smaller, so it blocks more light coming out of the display, and you have to push more pixels, so it requires more resources. But there was someone who was saying that it actually is more power efficient, and I don't know why. I'd have to do some research, but I mean, there might be some sort of advancement where they put this effort into. I don't know.
Well, no, probably because that happened with LTE. I mean, the initial deployments of LTE phones required a whole separate board, and it wasn't very power efficient. But as the standard evolved and as chipsets evolved, then now LTE phones can be more power efficient than CDMA or GSM ones on 3G. So it's like, okay, I mean, I could see that happening sometime in the future. I don't think that's the case now.
So yeah,
no, it's not, and you don't discern it. Like, it's hard to explain it because when I had a 720p phone, I thought, I don't need 1080p. It's stupid. Why would I ever need that in a phone? And then you use 1080p, and you're like, wow, this actually does look better. You don't get that effect with this one.
Agreed.
So, yeah, I see because of how long I've been following Pixels, I see the exact same reactions minus 2 or 3 years going from 720p to 1080p. So every phone is 720p or sub 720p, and then you get that first 1080p phone, and everyone's like, come on, I don't actually see a difference here, and the battery life's not as good, and we're going to have problems. And then slowly, one by one, you start getting all these 1080p flagships, and then you see a 1080p standard, and then Motorola releases a flagship with a 720p display, and everyone goes, wait a second, why isn't it 1080p? So then I'm expecting to see the same thing happen with 2.5K, where we have this G3, we have the Apple Find 7, we have probably the Galaxy Note 4 going to come out with an AMOLED 2.5K panel. And slowly, one by one, I'm expecting all these manufacturers to get the panel right, to get the technology right, and to get it as a standard. And then Motorola, maybe not Motorola, but someone's going to come out with a flagship that's a 1080p panel, and everyone's going to scratch their heads. But I actually think it looks a little bit better. When I'm looking at the G3 display after coming from the One M8's display, I do notice it's sharper, and that's with things like the wallpaper I'm using and the videos I'm watching. So it's not like every instance where I'm ever using the phone, but it does in some cases look sharper.
That's part of the
in the long run, you might be right there. I mean, in the long run, maybe we'll be looking back at this and saying the same thing and doing the 1080 to 720p thing. But I think in this instance, it comes with the sacrifices of brightness, which wasn't the case when the Droid DNA dropped to 1080p resolution in my face for the first time.
This is why I'm pumped to see the Note 4, which is probably going to have an AMOLED 2K display, because then you don't have the same backlight problems that they're working with the LCD on the G3.
Right. And
every pixel is individually lit, so you can still save battery, so it's not necessarily worse for battery life, even though there's more pixels. So it's an interesting thought to see a slightly bigger, slightly more dense AMOLED display in the Note 4.
What if they make it pin tile?
Oh god!
I had to
go home.
No, the thing I was going to
pixel corner. All right, tell the last point on this, and then we're going to move on. Go ahead.
Yeah, the content isn't there yet either. There's a select amount of content that's in Quad HD or 2.5K. There's a select amount of content, but it's going to be even more difficult to find wallpapers that look really nice. It's going to be difficult to find videos that are in 2K, Quad HD, or 4K. It's just not out there yet. The content's not built out. And your videos, you said it in your own review, a lot of the video games that you're going to play or games on smartphones are going to play in 1080p still. A lot of your videos on YouTube still going to play in 1080p. So you don't have even control over what resolution you're watching. In YouTube, you have HD and not HD, but you don't have the selection like on your desktop to say, I want to play this in 4K. So that's part of the thing, too. We haven't passed this threshold where beyond 1080p is a standard as a content, or a content type. So that's the problem. Yeah.
We're going to continue talking about the. Hayato just sent me something that I can't look at right now. We're going to continue talking about the G3 actually, and Marques, I'm glad that you mentioned the Moto X coming out with a 720p display, because we're going to talk about another Motorola device in a segment called "What Phone Should I Get?" I wanted to make this an independent show. What phone the one phone should I get thing, and I actually I was thinking of you, Marques. I was like, what if we got Marques and like Austin and Erica Griffin and maybe one other person together and like just had a panel and just had people call in and say, what phone should I get? Because how many times do people ask you? I know I've asked you this question before, but you know, is it still just as many as before?
Oh, all the time. That's always the number one thing. Like, it's, oh, you make videos about phones? Oh, cool. Well, you know, my contract's coming up soon. It's like, I know what you're going to ask already. So, yeah, it's a very frequent question. Yeah.
It is the number one and most frequently asked question that we get here, even at the podcast inbox, too. We only have time, sadly, to devote, we only have enough time for one piece of mail in this segment per week, and we're not going to run the segment every week, but this is a lot of fun. So we're going to answer Jeff's question from Richmond, Virginia, USA. I've been to Richmond several times. Fun place to audition for video projects. Pull the trigger on the... I love that Jeff didn't even have a greeting. He just gets right to the point. He understands the soul of brevity. Pull the trigger on the G3 when available, or wait to see what Moto has coming for the Moto X Plus 1. Your show and site is the shiz. Jeff in Richmond, Virginia. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks.
Good question. I know what my answer is. Would anybody like to jump in with...
Yeah. Well, my answer might be different. I know that if you're waiting for the Moto X Plus 1 and you're pondering the G3, you're looking at two vastly different phones that are targeting, or not targeting, that are built on different principles. And the G3 is built to pretty much have all the best of everything. Motorola, if they're building the Moto X Plus 1 like the Moto X, it's the opposite of that. It's showing what they can do with not as much. So it's a move to cut costs and still build this great smartphone. So you're looking at two different ends of the spectrum there, but I'd like to hear what Michael says as well.
I have some thoughts on this, but I'm still forming them. Why don't we hear what Marques says?
Usually when someone asks what phone should I buy, I have a bunch of follow-up questions about the person buying the phone. So if I'm just reading into this person who is, considering the G3 now or the Moto X Plus 1 later.
He's Jeff. We know Jeff. He's from Richmond.
Yeah.
You know him. Yeah.
Richmond.
It so shows the shiz.
He watches Pocketnow. It's if you're into the phones and all they have to offer, you're probably not going to be disappointed with the G3. But when the Moto X Plus 1 comes out, you may spot a feature or a new, I don't know if there's a new version of Android by then. If something else comes out that you may want that you can't get on the G3, you may then be disappointed. So you can always play the waiting game. There's always going to be something around the corner. We always say that. But I, at this point, would probably say wait for the Moto X Plus 1.
Yeah, I would wait to see at least what it offers. I'm in your boat there because yes, there is always something coming just around the corner, of course. But there are some devices that will not appeal to everyone. If you're considering the G3, it's an open question as to whether you would also consider the Note 4 because that's arguably still a different class of product. If you're waiting for the next iPhone, that's a completely different story. The Moto X Plus 1, I think, has a chance to be a really compelling product because the Moto X was a very compelling product, and I think Motorola probably learned a lot of lessons about how to market it, how not to market it, and how to price it as well. And assuming those lessons are being learned and not kind of lost thanks to the Lenovo confusion, and I think that's a good chance because Motorola is a very, very smart company, and they don't seem terribly distracted by that impending thing. I think the Moto X Plus 1 could be something special again, and I think that's worth waiting for. So just wait to see. I mean, unless you just broke your phone since you sent us this mail, Jeff, and you need a new phone right now, yeah, wait to see what Motorola brings to us. Hawken. All right.
I'm just parsing the YouTube comments.
Oh, okay. I didn't know where that traffic was coming from. Is that you, Marques? Are they still building the city around you?
I muted myself right before it was outside my window. It got so loud.
I was doing that while playing Cars on my desk.
All right, Jeff. Thank you for writing in. That is what phone should I get? And the final segment of the show is listener mail. Before we get there, I want to use the Q&A list just to hit 2 or 3 of these ones that a lot of people have voted up. And stuff that we can answer pretty quickly. So do you think, guys, that Android 5.x will be at I.O., Google I.O., coming up on Wednesday?
I don't.
Well, if they don't, if they don't do Android, the new Android that might look like WebOS, then they're going to do. The G Watch is basically guaranteed, right?
Yeah, Android Wear we're going to see.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it'll be Android 5. I'm expecting Android 4.5. I'll say that. Something like that.
Didn't 4.4 just drop for the Nexus?
Yeah, 4.4.4 dropped for a bunch of Nexuses, where everyone else on Google Play Edition is on 4.4.3, while 4.4.2 is on most other flagships. So 4.5 seems like a Google I.O. announcement.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since they've done a full number update.
It has, but from what we've seen from the leaks or the renders, whatever you want to call them, with this drastic UI overhaul, I still don't know the veracity of these. I sort of wish we still had Steven on the air to give us his kind of leak meter read on this. But if we do see that kind of crazy reinvention of the Android UI, then that would justify the point bump. More so than I think iOS earned it with 8, which I thought was a really early thing to do. But I don't know.
Well, they just do that every year, so that's different.
Yeah, yeah. You're right. That's not a proper analogy. And what do you think we'll see at Google? Yeah, definitely Android Wear. I am excited to see the G Watch. I think but what do you guys think? I keep, because we're seeing so many leaks of the G Watch and not so many appearances of the 360. Do you think they're gonna launch separately?
I can't.
Probably.
I'm not allowed to answer that.
Oh, are you under? Okay, sorry. I should have asked you before we went on if you were under any.
I mean, I'll say I'm expecting lots of Android Wear at Google I/O. That'll
do it. All right, well, let's stop talking about that. Yeah,
yeah.
we're we didn't have the brief that I wanted to have before we went on, and that was my fault. I'm sorry. Live shows, yeah. So anyway, let's move on from that. Thank you for the Q&A questions, guys. And it's not a question, but Marques does have awesome video quality! Exclamation point. Very good point.
Wait, are we talking about now or just in general?
That was my question. Like, and in general, I mean, that's true. But now you have wonderful quality right now as well.
Oh, thank you, Logitech.
Yeah. I'm using a Microsoft product for mine, so a little blown out. All right,
stuck on the built-in one.
Oh, Taylor, neither you nor Marques have access to our listener mail inbox. We're going to do listener mail, and we're going to power through them, and that's going to be the end of the show. I want to thank everybody. All the viewers who've stuck with us. Our numbers have stayed pretty level since we stopped talking about the cable guy device, so thanks. Thanks for sticking with us.
Get her done. I hate myself for that.
That's all right. That's all right. I forgive you. We have emailed see, this is how I normally did the weekly. We have emailed submissions from Sinath Macharia, Greg Vogt, and Thomas Huffmaster. So I think we should hit those in order, or maybe not. I don't know. But this one is called First Podcast to Go Video, and this is from Sinath Macarla. And we have a couple questions for Marques in here, too, which is why I chose it. Hi, I live at the other end of the world, the beautiful subcontinent, the world's largest democracy. This is the first time I've written to you and is regarding your first ever video podcast powered by Google Hangouts. Kudos to that. Thank you. My questions are, would we ever see a revamp of the Pocketnow website? Is that in the cards? Yes, it is in the cards. Ooh. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's in the cards because it needs to happen, doesn't it? Doesn't it, everyone? We were planning on doing it this year. Unfortunately, we have some other stuff that takes precedence before that, so it will not happen this year. I will tell you that. Now this I agree with. I think this might be the reason I chose this email, Marques. We would like to see Windows Phone reviews more from Marques Brownlee. More being the same depth he goes into the Android ecosystem. And since the next part of the question also addresses you, I'll let you answer both these in one shot. We've seen Marques' video on gaming consoles, Sony PS4 and Xbox One, and haven't seen any content after that. So what's up on that front? So far, which gaming console did you like and why? It would be awesome to see more of that. Marques?
More. Yeah, okay, so the first one was about Windows Phone. Yes, being a Google person who uses so many Google services, I find that I keep saying the same things every time I review a Windows Phone, just about the nature of Windows Phone, and it's sacrifices, it's trade-offs, is that the word? I don't know.
Shortcomings?
Compromises, I'll say.
Compromises,
with someone who uses a lot of Google services. So, yeah, I'm still absolutely down to review Windows phones, but obviously there are significantly more Android phones being released, so that's just the nature of the percentage of content you see. And then the consoles. So I want to review the consoles this summer. I want to independently talk about each of them in separate videos. Right now, all I'm really working on is a way to record the screen to record the content that's being streamed. So it's kind of hacky on both of them. It's kind of hard to record the PS4 or Xbox One screens. But if you honestly want to know, I only play like 2 games on each console. So if you just want to see what games I play, it would be pretty boring. It's just like,
what are the games?
I play on the PS4. I play NBA 2K14 and Need for Speed, and on the Xbox One, I play Forza and FIFA. So
nice.
Well, if and when I get an Xbox One, I challenge you to FIFA.
Ooh, throwing down.
I love FIFA.
You don't like... I know the answer to this already because everyone answers the same way. You don't like flight simulators, do you, Marques? Flight combat simulators?
I like simulators in general. I don't have any flight simulators, and it's been a while since I played one. I think I played one on Android maybe a couple months ago, but I don't have any. But like I said, I prefer Forza when I'm doing a driving simulator because it's so much more realistic than Need for Speed, which is just crashing into everything.
Well, there's one that's I specifically referred to about every time I do a review called Sky Gambler's Air Supremacy, and I love this game, and it allows for multiplayer, and so I'm very frequently. Console? It is not. I'm sorry, I should have made that clear. It's an Android game.
Okay.
And it's a lot of fun to play on the G Flex in particular, but any large screen phone is a good time. Anyway, if you get the urge to play, if anybody gets the urge to play, please play it, because I would like to play against somebody I know. My friend Chris Larson doesn't play with me anymore. I'm sad about that. Sky Gambler's Air Supremacy, it's a good time. They don't sponsor the show either. I wish they would. By the way, if you have any brand that you want to use the podcast to sponsor your brand, you talk to me. It's a wonderful idea. Let's move on to the next piece of listener.
I got a brand of.
The Untethered
anything
podcast.
fast enough.
Listen to it.
Yeah, we'll cross sponsor.
Yeah, this is a good question from Greg Vogt. This is a BlackBerry question, and we'll see if we can avoid descending into a hate fest. Greg Vogt asks, at the BlackBerry earning call yesterday, BlackBerry took the opportunity to show off 2 new devices. They already announced the BlackBerry Classic, and then there's this new BlackBerry Passport, which will launch this September. Taylor, Marques, did you guys see the pictures of this thing?
All I've seen is the name of the devices. That's all I know about them so far.
Do yourself a favor and do me a favor and do a Google image search right now for BlackBerry Passport.
BlackBerry.
Yeah, we got to talk about this
Passport.
thing. Given that both of these phones, the mail continues, given that both of these phones are QWERTY models, do you believe that these phones will appeal to current BlackBerry 7 users to have them update to BlackBerry 10? And do you believe they'll appeal to users of any other platforms? Thanks always for your fine reporting and interesting and insightful reviews, Greg Vogt. Greg, thank you.
Is this thing real?
Yeah, that's the question. Do you want to share screen there, Taylor, and I'll lock the camera on it for a second?
Yeah, it literally looks like somebody took the LG Optimus View and
put a physical
Mac
QWERTY keyboard on it.
This is
keyboard
really
on
not a joke.
This is not a joke. Yeah.
Real. Oh my God.
What?
That's the thing.
Really?
Like, this is...
Hold on. Let's do this.
I think it was BGR who ran a headline that said something like, "This is the phone that BlackBerry thinks will sway you from iOS and Android." And it's a really good headline if you forgive the snark, which I think is justified, because it's like, so there's the Optimus View. That's what Taylor has on his screen right now.
Yeah.
And that is basically the exact same footprint.
QWERTY keyboard. Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I would feel bad for BlackBerry because, like, oh man, this isn't gonna sell. But like, this is so bad just upon first glance that I almost like don't feel bad. Like, you should know
the pain is coming if you
know that that's not something that people want.
Did they see the reviews of the Optimus View? I'm just curious. Like,
wow.
That's the thing, and actually the Optimus View or the Intuition, depending on if you're on Verizon or not, that sort of had an excuse to exist that I didn't know about when I did the Worst Gadgets Ever episode on it, and I kind of felt bad because I should have done a little more research. But in Korea, apparently, when this thing was released, I don't know if it's still the case, people watched a lot of 4x3 TV on their mobile, so this was built for that. So okay.
Yeah, but it was also sold here in the U.S. and marketed heavily for like. Until it hit. When it landed, LG was like, done.
Yeah, but the point is, like, it had a reason to be the way it was. I don't know. Now, BlackBerry is saying, of course, it's even called the Passport so that you can use it to, like, display particular documents that work better on this. But I would never. I can't envision.
The target market is so small.
Yeah, and when you're BlackBerry and you're not playing to win, you're playing to survive. How is this what you focus on alongside a like low-end full-screen thing and the Classic, which people were asking for in 2010, maybe? But I just, it's very frustrating. I really want BlackBerry to do well. I have the Q10 right behind my computer here, and I have consistently stood up for the Q10. Mm-hmm. But these models don't strike me as the way to win here.
I was a huge, if not one of the biggest, BlackBerry supporters for the longest time. Failed to believe that they were falling and just held on to it as long as I possibly could. And finally, I switched, and now I can't get behind them. I used the Q10. I did not use the Z10, but I used the Q10 for about 3 days and wanted to punch myself in the face. It's just. I can't. Like,
I liked it. I liked the Q10. I mean,
we're not turning this into a BlackBerry hate fest.
We're not. We're not going to do that, and we because they don't deserve it. I mean, they've done some great stuff, and I really think the software design of BlackBerry 10 is admirable. And I really think that once you sideload some Android apps on there, it's actually a really fun daily driver. And of course, if you still want a physical keyboard, you can't get better than that. I just really wish they'd followed up those promising moves with the Q10 and to a lesser extent the Z30 with some designs that people will buy, because people are not going to buy that Passport, at least not here in the States. If you know, and now we've had some feedback on our BlackBerry commentary from earlier episodes, thank you for that, some corrections and such. If you know of a market where this particular aspect ratio is really going to succeed, we'll keep an eye on it and we'll report on it. If it works, it works, but I don't know.
The thing for me, like in this picture, and I'm going to screen share for just a second.
I will lock the camera on you, and I will say to the viewers, if you're a first-time watcher of this show, Taylor has a sixth sense. He knows when I want to move on.
Yes, I do.
And then he goes, yeah, but I got one more thing.
No, this is just a small thing. Tell me that doesn't look like it's not actually, like, it looks cut off. Like, it looks like they cropped a render. It doesn't look all there, and that's just...
No, you're right.
And there's a space bar between the V and the B.
Oh, God, is there? There is, isn't there?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm pretty sure this is a joke.
Yeah. So anyway, let's move on to the last piece of listener mail. We'll wait to see on that. If we get a review device, I happily take a look at it, and I'm being serious. I don't expect to be surprised by it, but I also will not judge it completely before I get to see it with my own hands. I think it's about time to end the show. Let's read Thomas Huffmaster's piece of email, and we'll end on a really nice note. I love these questions. They're just fluff, but they're wonderful. Hey, guys. Hey, Thomas. Since most Americans get their smartphones through 2-year contracts and then are stuck with that single smartphone for 2 years, I ask you all this. If you had to choose only one smartphone from today's current offerings to be stuck using for the next 2 years, what smartphone would that be and why?
I'm just going to not even think about it and just answer. Google Play Edition One M8. Done.
Bam!
Boom.
Wow.
There it is.
All right. Well, all right, but now defend yourself. It's 2017, okay? Every other device you have probably is because this restriction doesn't extend to tablets, you've bought the latest 4K tablet, and it's beautiful. And you've taken a photo with the One M8 that you're really proud of, and then you show it on the screen, and you're like, oh, I'd really like to crop this a little. Oh, I can't. Oh, God, this is turning into a mess. You be prepared to live with that?
Yeah, I use a pocket camera more than I use a phone camera, and if I actually intend on sharing a photo on the internet, I more than often take out an actual camera. And it's very rare that I'm just walking along with my phone and decide, you know what, I want to take a picture of that. I know that's weird for like humans. Usually you want to take pictures of things, but everything else about the phone is great for me. It's going to get a couple more Android updates. You know, it's a Google Play Edition device. The speakers will be great. The display will be great. And I will probably like using it. The user interface will be fine for me for the next couple years. I can't pick a skinned phone to use for the next 2 years. I just can't do it. All right.
Taylor? That's a good answer, Marques, by the way.
I'm actually torn.
Considered.
I'm actually torn between the...
I'm having a really hard time with this.
I'm torn between the G3 and the M8. And that's hard for me because I'm not typically a fan of LG's products, and that means that I haven't ever really used an LG phone at any length. I have with HTC. I've been using HTC phones for years, so it's very difficult. It'd be a very big risk for me to just go out on a limb and try the G3. So I'd be conservative and probably say the M8 as it is. I have the T-Mobile one, just standard, not Google Play Edition. The cool thing is that you know that you can put official Google Play Edition software on there. Not officially, but you can put the official software on there.
Right.
So you can always convert it back and forth. So there is some flexibility there, as if HTC just up and quit putting out updates for the Sense version.
I hate this question.
Same.
Like, it sucks, right? Because I'm trying to answer it honestly, and I'm like, what if I was really stuck in this situation? And to be honest, I should probably think about this a little more often, considering that most of our readers are in this position.
I know what phone you want.
What?
And I have it right here.
What?
Can you even tell what that is?
That's an LG. Is that the Lucid 3 or whatever? Oh yeah.
That's
get out of my face with that mess. You know, I was gonna. One M8 is definitely a very strong contender. G3 is not. I don't think it's really my speed. I wouldn't say Moto X at this point. I was tempted to say Moto X, but we're coming up on 1 year, and it's you know, I wouldn't be able to carry it for the next 2 years. No, certainly not. The G Flex is also a tempting response.
Oh wow!
Right?
Ooh.
You know what that software?
Ooh.
No.
Or that screen. It has image retention after seconds.
I know that. I understand.
After seconds.
I understand, but you have to understand that there are things that are important to me, and one of those things is being in an elevator and using my phone and being guaranteed that someone's going to ask me about my phone. I just like interacting with people. Like, it's like, whoa, that's curved. Like, I'm like, yeah, you want to talk about it? Like, let's talk about it. It's a great time.
Can we talk theoreticals for a second, since you are? You're in an elevator, and somebody asks you about your phone, and you're like, yeah, it has a curved display, and you turn it on, and you're in, like, the Gmail app, but you're still seeing Hangouts from 30 seconds ago, 2 years ago. Like, think this through, Michael.
I know, and that's why I'm thinking. That's why I said it was
more irritating over 2 years, or would you get?
No, you'd get used to it. Like, I'd get used to it because it's like, yeah, the screen sucks, but it's curved.
It's got this really cool hardware blend effect, an animation that's
hardware. Hardware. It's hardware multitasking is what that is. I maybe call me a contrarian, but I would pick the Xperia Z1 Compact. That's what I would carry for 2 years.
Oh, okay.
I love that little phone, and if it was available now, I'd say Z2 Compact, and I really hope they build one because I might actually buy that. But I had such a great time with the Z1 Compact, and I think it's a really great little device, and it sacrifices almost nothing on the specs. So yeah, that's the one I'd pick.
You wouldn't keep the S5 active?
Well.
Thought you were so happy about that purchase.
I do love this paint job. Yeah, I think this is going back. Spoiler alert, I think I'm going to return this. Oddly enough, I don't think I'm returning this. I can't use the Gear Fit with any non-Samsung device, and I don't want to carry a Samsung device as a daily driver, but I like this thing so much that I might hold on to it. Anyway, there's your answer. That's a good question. That was a very annoying question, Thomas Huffmaster, so that's how you know it's a good one. Guys, we're out of time. We're at almost the 2-hour mark, which is kind of typical for the audio weekly. It's good to see that some things are not lost in translation on the video side. I want to say to Marques Brownlee, thank you for coming again. We had a wonderful time having you on the air, and you have made this inaugural Hangout for the weekly a blast. So thank you.
Thanks for having me, and I hope it goes well, and best of luck with the video format.
Thank you very much, man. And I don't know if this is under your NDA or not. Are you covering Google I/O on site from home?
I'll be I'm flying out on Tuesday, and I'll be there for a couple days, and looking forward to it.
I will be sending you salutations from Google's offices in Cambridge, Massachusetts. So,
okay.
Sounds good. I will, Taylor. It is always lovely to see you, and I'm going to tell people where to find you on the internet. Marques, in case people don't know where to find your stuff, tell them all.
The YouTubes, youtube.com/MKBHD, which is what I have there. I make videos, and everything else is around those 5 letters. So Twitter, MKBHD, Instagram, MKBHD, Facebook, MKBHD, Google+, Marques Brownlee.
Oh, Marques Brownlee. Oh, yeah, that's
everywhere
right.
else, those are the letters you want to search.
Too. Yeah.
Google+ wouldn't give me Casper Tech. Even though that's the name of my corporation. I have Casper Tech Incorporated.
Yeah, me too. I have Captain Two Phones, LLC or whatever.
And I can't get Google or plus.google.com/any of it. I can't do that. And I think it's because there's a Chinese manufacturer that is also called Casper Tech. That's the only reason it would make sense.
Wait, that really sucks. What do they make?
Electronics, like home electronics.
Oh, so
players and
I'm gonna buy myself a Casper Tech blender. I'm gonna have it for the next episode of the weekly. Everyone, thank you for joining us. Thank you for dealing with the bumps and audio issues, and really appreciate you sticking around. Thanks for all your questions as well. Please continue sending them in. Taylor, you can find him at Caspertek, Caspertek on Twitter. I am at Captain Two Phones. Stephen Schenck, who was here before, is also on Twitter, but he never tweets, so just forget about it. Our transition music is from Ali Spagnola, Ali Spags on YouTube, and at Ali Spagnola on Twitter. She has millions of followers, but she can always use one or two more, and she has great music and some fun concerts that I want to go to someday. You can follow Pocketnow officially on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Google+. And if you enjoy the podcast, we hope you do, please leave us a review on iTunes, Xbox Music, Stitcher, wherever else podcasts are heard. As always, we thank you very much for listening. Shoot us email to podcast@pocketnow.com, and we will see you next week.
Bye.